The Brooklyn Nets continue to add to their very good team as the Nets and the Lakers continue to fight for vets, as they have signed Paul Millsap this morning on a 1 year deal. And it also looks like they are going to be signing LaMarcus Aldridge, as he has now put himself in a position where he has cleared all medical tests to get him back looking healthy to return to the NBA. And it looks like the Brooklyn Nets are the team that are going to be leading that race to sign him. So I just wanted to talk about these signings briefly, how I think they could impact this Brooklyn Nets team, and essentially how it's going to impact the race of them and the Lakers being the favorites to fight for a title next season. So with that being said, let's get right into it and talk about the signings of Paul Millsap and LaMarcus Aldridge by the Brooklyn Nets. So with these signings, the front court of the Brooklyn Nets has definitely got a big boost. The center position now consists of Nicholas Claxton, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, and DeAndre Jordan is still there, but likely to be moved, and then rookie Day'Ron Sharpe. There's a lot of options there at the center spot. Of course, LaMarcus Aldridge or Blake Griffin could get moved to the four at any point in time, as that's where they formerly played, but age and mobility into the modernization of the game may make it a little bit less likely for them to ever play there. But LaMarcus Aldridge on this team is just going to be absolutely disgusting. He obviously was with the Brooklyn Nets last year and didn't have a ton of games before. Of course, he found that medical problem that has now been resolved. He is now in much better health, which is great to see. And so ultimately, he's going to be a player that's going to be able to be very impactful for this Brooklyn Nets team. This is not all-star level LaMarcus Aldridge, but LaMarcus Aldridge is still deadly from mid-range. He always had been, and that's a threat that you have to deal with, while him probably never being even the third option on the court at any given time, because you have Kyrie, because you have, of course, Durant, James Harden, Patty Mills is there, Joe Harris is there. There's so many options that you have to contend with on this team. And LaMarcus Aldridge is just not going to be someone you're going to be focusing on. But because he still has such a deadly mid-range, that is a problem and something that teams are going to have to contend with. So he gives them depth there. And then, of course, now Paul Millsap has been added in. It probably is what is their weakest position for depth at the power forward spot. Of course, he can play some small ball center as well. But they have so many guys there, I think he will most likely end up playing more at the power forward spot than at center, as he did last year with Denver. Brooklyn, other than, of course, Kevin Durant at the four, have James Johnson, Reggie Perry, Alize Johnson. So there's some options there, but it's nothing great. And so now the Brooklyn Nets have brought in two former All-Stars in Paul Millsap and DeAndre Jordan. Just the Lakers and the Nets just keep adding All-Star games to their teams. And Paul Millsap's going to be a very good bench player for them. He brings in a lot of experience, a lot of leadership, and a lot of just more veterans onto this team. There's a lot of leadership. Paul Millsap, of course, does not have that ring or that championship pedigree. They have that in Kyrie. They have that in Kevin Durant. So they have those guys there that have done their thing, have won a title. Of course, LaMarcus Aldridge as well. And so there's a lot of veterans on this team. There's a lot of leaders. There's a lot of championship pedigree. And Paul Millsap is just going to continue to add to that veteranship, that leadership, and essentially on the basketball court as well, put in a pretty good log as far as what was probably their weakest position off of the bench in that power forward spot. So now they can roll Patty Mills the bench along with Bruce Brown, Paul Millsap, Blake Griffin, or Nicholas Claxton, whoever doesn't start, and as well as LaMarcus Aldridge. So they have a lot of nice pieces on the bench now. Paul Millsap just gives them a nice guy at that power forward spot that they kind of needed. I think it's a brilliant signing by the Brooklyn Nets. I think the battle between them and the Lakers, assuming that everyone stays healthy, is going to be inevitable in the NBA Finals in this upcoming season. Not to say that they won't have their challenges to get there, but I think those are definitely the most likely teams to get there. I really hope we get to see that battle. I can't wait to see these teams play out, see how it goes. But it's definitely been a good morning of signings by the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, the LaMarcus Aldridge deal is not yet confirmed or official or signed by any stretch, but it does definitely seem highly likely, like when Rajon Rondo became a free agent, that he was going to go to the Lakers. It also seems that way that LaMarcus Aldridge will likely go to the Brooklyn Nets, and is going to add to an already extremely strong Brooklyn Nets team. That being said, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about the signings of Paul Millsap and LaMarcus Aldridge by the Brooklyn Nets, how they could impact the team next season. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you want to hear my thoughts on other things throughout the NBA off-season, then be sure to click the box on the right-hand side of the screen. That being said, I will have a couple other videos coming out today. I'll be talking about Ben Simmons, Kevin Love, a few other things around NBA news that I want to post some videos about in the next couple of days. Be sure to stay tuned for those. If you want to hear a few more about those, I also want to talk about the Clint Capella extension, what that means for the Atlanta Hawks' future as they continue to tie more guys down this offseason on long-term deals, most notably John Collins, Trae Young. I'm also going to talk about that in the next couple of days, so be sure to stay tuned for those if that's something you're interested in. But anyways, that's enough for today, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. As I said, there'll be a couple of other videos coming out later in the day, but I hope you guys have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.